Hey there, true believers. Welcome back to New World Nerds. I'm Superman Nico, and today is the day we've all been waiting for. It is my review for Avengers Endgame. Before we get started, does anybody want to get out? Spoiler warning has been issued. Spoilers at this point still kind of feel like bad words, so some stuff I might tiptoe around, but for the most part, spoiler filled. Let's go ahead and dive into it. I'm going to go into depth with it on the Nerd Crew podcast on Tuesday. We will not be doing New World Nation. We will be part of the Nerd Crew podcast on Tuesday. It should be really awesome. So Avengers Endgame, the fourth Avengers movie, the follow-up, the second part almost to Avengers Infinity War, the 22nd film in the MCU. How does it stack up to the rest of the MCU, to other superhero movies, to movies in general? We'll get into that. Let's compare it first to Avengers Infinity War. I feel like Endgame is more character-driven than action-based than Infinity War was. That's okay though, because even though that the whole movie isn't action-based, it does have the craziest, most nuts action scene in the third act, which I think we were all hoping for, and boy did it deliver. The plot was pretty heavy, but it still had some moments of levity. Overall, the plot was a time heist as proposed by Scott Lang's Ant-Man. Scott Lang was really what got this movie going. Speaking of getting this movie going, we started off with Hawkeye and getting his family dusted. That was pretty devastating, I'm not gonna lie. I thought it was gonna be like he was gonna hold like his family in his hands and they disappeared, but no, it was more like, hey, where'd you guys go? What just happened? Oh my god, which I thought was even more poignant. Most of the shots that we saw from the trailer were over in about 10 or 15 minutes into the movie, which I thought was really awesome. That's what we wanted. We didn't want to know anything about this movie, and I don't think there was really a way of guessing everything that would happen. Sure, there's some stuff you could have guessed or you could have hoped for and gotten some things right, but getting the whole picture, I don't think you would have done it. Tony and Nebula get rescued by Brie Larson. They ask for a tow. She helps them out. I love how Tony Stark looks super sickly, which obviously makes sense because he ran out of food and water. The first thing he tells Cap is, Cap, I lost the kid. And boy, that was one of the saddest moments of the movie. I loved it. It had gravity to it. I, for one, didn't really like how he just kind of sat there in Infinity War. And it makes a lot of sense because he didn't know what was going on, that they were just disappearing. He didn't know why or how. But I didn't like how he didn't cry. Maybe that's not Tony Stark, that's fine. But you could see it in his eyes. It says, Cap, I lost the kid. And it just felt so hard. It felt very heavy. And you think like, okay, let's time to regroup. Let's go fight Thanos. Tony's not about it. He said, you said we were gonna fight. You were gonna fight him together, and we lost. You know, we were apart. I needed you, and you weren't there. I really like that. Like this, it's not just like, hey, let's just fight together because Thanos. Like in the Civil War meant something. People were like, it didn't have any stakes. No, they're still at odds with each other. Okay, let's go fight Thanos. We killed him. Oh my gosh, he destroyed the stones. Where are the stones? There are no stones. Can't undo the snap. Well, we have to live in this world for 5 days, months, weeks, years. 5 years we get to live in this universe. I'm glad that happened because I was afraid that we wouldn't get to live in this universe at all, which I think a lot of us wanted. It sounds crazy to say, but a lot of us wanted to live in this post-snapped world there for a little bit. This movie isn't crazily action-packed, but I think MCU is at its best when we're in the in-between. What I mean by that is when we just are sitting with these characters, when these characters just have a chance to dwell on what's happened or what's happening or what they've been through this whole time, I think we get the most genuine moments. They can have great action scenes like in an Infinity War or a great hand-to-hand combat like in Captain America the Winter Soldier, but I'm here for Captain America Civil War where they're just debating about the Accords. I'm here for the party scene or the after-party scene of Avengers Age of Ultron. I love the in-between moments when these characters don't feel like superheroes, they feel like real people. We purchased our tickets in phase 1 for the supermen and women, their stories, the situations that they'd get in. And in phase 2, phase 3, the movies, the spin-offs, all this stuff, the TV shows, we came back for the men and the women. Each year, each phase, each movie, each scene felt like we were visiting an old friend. And that's what I think gave the MCU the legs, the longevity it's had. This movie is filled with fan service, but not the fan service that makes you roll your eyes, but the fan service that makes you cheer. It's a time travel movie, and possibly my favorite time travel movie ever. We had Dragon Ball Z rules where no matter what you did in the past, you can't change your future. You're gonna have little splinters off. You're gonna make alternate timelines, but you're not gonna affect your future. The snap will still happen. And I was like, yes, This is it. Like, you're not going to undo Infinity War, which was my favorite MCU movie up to this point. We went to Avengers 1, we went to the 70s, we went back to Vormir, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1, we went to Thor the Dark World. Take that, everybody who was making fun of me for having so many copies of Thor the Dark World on accident, not even on purpose, but take that. We reviewed it for New World Nation, and now you have to watch it again. If you guys want the code to watch Thor the Dark World, hit us up in the comments and I'll give it to you still. Speaking of the 70s, we got real life Jarvis, and people were like, oh my gosh, it's so cool because we get real life Jarvis. And just like, oh, Jarvis, he must be the inspiration for, you know, Jarvis, the system, his Tony Stark's AI, the stuff in his house, the stuff in his suit, the thing that eventually became Vision. I'm over here freaking out. I know some of you guys are freaking out because we watched Agent Carter, and that's the Jarvis from the TV show. That was so awesome. We never get any TV show characters, but we got some. We got Jarvis, and that made my heart happy. That's all I needed. I don't need Daredevil and the Netflix characters like, oh, we're gonna fight beside you guys. I just need them in the background. And we just got one line from Jarvis, and it was amazing. I loved it. That was fan service for me. Thank you. We got some more fan service when it looks like all hope is lost and the Avengers can't beat Thanos. This past Thanos in the future, 5 years later, whatever, it doesn't matter. And then we hear on his comms, we hear on your left. And I'm like, yes, even more fan service. Falcon said that during the Winter Soldier, dude. Speaking of Winter Soldier, when we go back to Avengers 1, we get Winter Soldier fan service by having another elevator scene. But Cap, he's so smart now, he just says Hail Hydra, and that is so great. So we even get seeds of Captain Hydra from the Secret Empire storyline that happened like a year ago. And the biggest fan service in the entire world, in pop culture, in nerd history of all time, we get everybody coming through the portals, which we predicted on New World Nation. Humble brag, weird flex, all that stuff. Everyone's coming through the portal, and Cap, after he just turns his shield into a tourniquet and says, Avengers, assemble. And it was the most badass thing to happen in cinema history. I don't care who you are. It was awesome. Yes, I said it wasn't super action-packed, but boy, did it have the best action scene in cinema history. It was like Lord of the Rings, but 3 times more epic than that. Like Ready Player One, but we cared. It was a splash page in a comic book. That's when you read Secret Wars, you open up that bad boy, and all of your favorite characters are on one page, or on those 2 pages, that splash page of this huge fight. And you know someone's going down, because anytime there's a big splash page in some Marvel event, someone's going down, unless it's like Spider Island, and in which case everyone gets cured. Spoiler alert for that. Speaking of somebody going down, yes, we did get the fall of a couple Avengers in this movie. We got Black Widow sacrificing herself for the Soul Stone, R.I.P. But I think the biggest one was Iron Man snapping out Thanos and his whole army. That was really cool. Hulk got his chance at the gauntlet, but so did Tony Stark. He had to do it. There was no way. There was no other way, like Doctor Strange said. Thanos was like, I am inevitable. Wait. Is this thing on? I think I had it on Wumbo. Then Tony Stark gets and he says, I am Iron Man. Snaps everybody out. Dude, it was so cool, so poignant, so amazing. It was quite marvelous. Did you guys see what I did? After everything, Tony always came back to Iron Man. He was supposed to hide his identity at the end of Iron Man. Nah, I am Iron Man. At the end of Iron Man 3, he took the shrapnel out. All right, time to settle down with Pepper. Oh wait, I am Iron Man. After Age of Ultron, I created Ultron. Wait, I have to come back in Civil War. I am Iron Man. It keeps coming back. No matter what he does, he is Iron Man through and through. Tony Stark is his alter ego. He is Iron Man. So he went out the only way he could have gone out, defending everybody. Another callback to Age of Ultron and his vision that Scarlet Witch, Cap tells him, you could have done more. You could have saved us. But he did do more. He did everything. He sacrificed everything to save everyone. And that was awesome. Opposite vein, Captain America was the soldier, but he just wanted to be the man. He just wanted to be Steve Rogers. So he got that. He got to live his life. He got a life. And that was a great ending to his story too. You don't have to just kill somebody for their story to end. And Captain America's story isn't over. Steve Rogers' story is over. He went, you know, he rode off into the sunset. But Captain America lives on as Sam Wilson. I think that was the way to go. Winter Soldier has a little too much blood on his hands, if I'm going to be honest. A lot of people say the Russo brothers made Captain America cool, and I agree with that. But I think Chris Evans made Captain America a man. He made him a person. He gave him America's ass. But Chris Evans, he is so good as Captain America. Can we say this all together now? No stakes, my ass. All right, they have the most stakes. It didn't undo Infinity War. Infinity War still happened. People lost 5 years of their life. You know, it was insane. Like, there's stuff that you're still going to feel the repercussions for. Yes, Peter got snapped or whatever, but he's got to go back to school. Is Ned his only friend left? Probably not. Like, I feel like all of his other friends also got snapped, but other people, like people that were younger than him, are now older than him. How does that make any sense? Like, there's so many things like that still have to be dealt with. Vision, Loki, old Gamora, still dead. Not only did they not undo Infinity War, you didn't want it to be undone, because that would also undo Iron Man's child, Morgan Stark, who was a big-time cutie. She was a great actress, a lot like Cassie Lang in Ant-Man. Still repercussions. They had the gauntlet, couldn't get Black Widow back. They had all the power, but still be so far away. Her death was pretty surprising, because I thought it was going to be Hawkeye, because he had more at stake. Permanent, it seems like, for the most part, and I think it should be. And not only that, it showcased a different kind of love. It wasn't a romantic love. It was, you know, something built up over time, you know, a colleague love, if that makes any sense. They were friends, you know, they were brother and sister, for lack of a better analogy. So it's just a different kind of love, and I think it's just as special. Iron Man being the one to snap Thanos out, I think that they were just two sides of the same coin. They both think that they know best, and they both have people in their lives that want the same thing but don't see the bigger picture, like, say, Tony with Ultron and Thanos with this whole snapshot idea. Definitely felt like Iron Man's destiny. You go back to Age of Ultron with that vision. You go back to Avengers 1, where you're not the kind of guy to lay down on the wire and let the other guy walk over you. There was no calculations left to compute. It was either you snap them and die, or Thanos wins. Pretty much, that's it. So it was really awesome to see him be the one, and to turn in that guy, come full circle from being the most selfish man on the face of the planet, selfish and not humble guy, to humble himself and sacrifice himself for everybody. This movie is emotional, it's fun, it's poignant, it's badass, and it's just plain high quality MCU. This movie is the reason we got excited when Nick Fury said Avengers Initiative at the end of Iron Man in that post-credit scene. This is the idea of the Avengers being adapted to a movie reaching its full potential. As far as I know, this is the best movie ever made. I know you can call me a fanboy, you can call me a stan, whatever you like, but it's the truth. To me, this movie is art. We scour the world for something that makes us feel in this short life that we have, and this made me feel. I didn't cry like I thought I was going to do, because I think I was just happy. Like, a part of the story is the end. I was just happy that each character, you know, fulfilled their destiny or got what they needed, and that we've been on such a crazy journey together. Like I said, it's not like these characters that we're just watching happen. We feel a part of it, and I think that's a huge accomplishment. That makes me happy that this movie made $1 billion in its opening weekend. I hope it takes down Avatar, because I like this movie so much. As far as I'm concerned, this movie was the best Marvel Cinematic Universe movie, the best superhero movie, the best movie for me personally. Yes, it's still early. I've only seen it the one time. I want to go see it more times, but dang it, there aren't that many tickets out there for me to purchase. But of course, my opinion might change later, or something new might come out. Maybe Star Wars 9 will change that idea for me, but I don't think so. I'm gonna bet against that. The MCU came into my life at a really transitional time. Like, yeah, I was 13 when it came out, but also I was moving from Wisconsin to Texas. It's a big change. And, you know, no matter what happened, it might sound sad, but the MCU was always there. I could always search it up, and there was always something new coming out. These characters were always there. The MCU made me a nerd. It changed the way I watch movies, changed the way I consume content, got me into comic books. It got me to make this YouTube channel. If I wasn't a nerd about this stuff, I wouldn't have been watching the YouTube channels. If I wouldn't have been watching the YouTube channels, I wouldn't have made them myself. And if I didn't have a YouTube channel, I don't think I would be as good of talking to people in real life. Yes, you can call me biased, that's fine. I definitely am biased. It's the best because it doesn't hold your hand. It builds on top of the other 21 films. Like, Winter Soldier is my favorite. That's cool. It's the Winter Soldier 2. Like, it's not as good if you don't if you don't enjoy the Winter Soldier when Cap's in there and says Hail Hydra, or when Alexander Pierce shows up to try and get the Tesseract. As far as I'm concerned, Avengers Endgame is 22 films long. So yes, you saw me fanboy out, that's okay. Lastly, I just want to thank Marvel Studios. I want to thank Marvel Studios for making this and not treating us like people that you're just trying to get their money from, but like fans, and made us feel a part of it. And yeah, you can say, well, yeah, it's still like Disney and stuff like that. That's okay. But you can't tell me how I feel about a thing. And I feel like I was a part of it. And I'm really glad I got to live in the golden age of superhero movies. And this feels like the end of a chapter. And I loved it. And I hope you guys go see it. I just hope you guys go see it multiple times. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. And tweet us at New World Nerds on Twitter. Leave a like down below if you feel like we deserve it. Subscribe to the channel. Face front, true believer. Keep nerding out there. We love you, 3000. Don't forget to leave a comment about the code for Thor: The Dark World if you want a refresher. That's it.